he sees your eyes running through the night, only takes him back. Always side to side, crowding through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming.
Good evening, everyone, and what a lovely evening it is too. And obviously, we won yesterday. I could not, even though it's my birthday today. It's my birthday. I could not do an extra time. Could I? I mean, come on, we haven't won a game for ages, so it was a massive game. I just had to do an extra time for you guys, even though it's my birthday. I've got the old Christmas tree on, got the Christmas jumper on. So we're hoping that everyone's very festive in the chat. We're going to be talking about the game, and we're going to be talking about the match, analysing that. Vitor Pereira's first game in charge, a 3-0 away victory against relegation rivals Leicester City, and what a vital win it was too. And it was fantastic. He's the only manager in the Premier League that has got 100% record this season. Okay, he's played one game. So we're only going to be a nice little short extra time tonight. But we have got two guests already in the background. Brian, whilst you're in the background, go and get something festive, because we're all like being Christmassy. You need to get something festive. Whilst Brian does that, I'm bringing on George. How you doing?
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas all. Yeah. Feeling a lot better, mate. As you can see from my little name thingy. In Vitor we trust, mate.
In Vitor we trust.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, how good does a win feel, mate? That was a massive win, wasn't it?
Wasn't just a win. It was the manner of the performance for me. It was night and day for me, honestly, from a tactical point of view. We looked like we had a plan and we looked like we carried it out. The players looked hungry. They were fighting for the shirt. Honestly, it was unrecognisable. I couldn't believe it. And it was everything that I dreamed his impact would be and more, to be honest. So I'm just fully behind him now. I am fully behind him, Dave. And
I can see that by the Invicta Trust, and we're gonna break that. We're gonna analyse that. I do want to welcome. I did see earlier. Soms back as a member of the channel. Listen, guys, it's Christmas. Why don't you become a channel member? Supports the channel, and you get little perks like extra emojis, and we've got the private members chat that you can get involved with as well. And I do want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's wishing us a happy birthday, which is very nice.
Yeah, happy birthday, mate.
Kevin, thanks, mate. It says, Merry Christmas, Dazzlers. Welcome to the 3 points. We've got, I'm just rolling down here. Yeah, immense results, Noah says. And just rolling, we've had so many comments already, so I'm just rolling down these comments, trying to catch up with all the comments. Oh, look, happy birthday there, which is nice. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Loads of them here. Happy 18th, if only. But I much appreciate all the kind birthday wishes. I'll tell you a little bit about my birthday in a little bit, what I've been up to and everything, but it's all good. But so many birthday wishes, which is lovely. And a massive thank you to one of our members, Merv. What a top bloke this is. We've become friends through the YouTube channel. He's sent a $5. Happy birthday, Dave. Have a drink on me and Tommy. Absolutely. I've got my cup of tea here ready to go, mate. Absolutely. Now, I will say one of the great things about running this channel, because it is Christmas. One of the fantastic things about running this channel, we're just going to bring on Boston now. One of the great things, hold on a bit, Brian, come to you in a second. George, one of the great things about doing this channel and how it's grown over the year, it's the people more than anything else. The new friendships I've made, Brian, you, all the other people, loads of the other people I would never have met and become good friends with if it wasn't for doing this channel. And that's at this time of year, it's really important to think, because there are people that are on their own and have lost loved ones and are missing them and stuff like that. You need your friends and family around you at this time, and I just think it's one of the best things that have come out doing this channel is all the people that have got involved with it and have met. So I mean, that's something that I'm very, very grateful for. I just want to say that to all you guys in the chat as well. Thank you for all the love and support that you give. Brian, I'm loving the hat, not the hat, the jumper. I've got a Christmassy jumper on. Brian's got a Christmas jumper. If you're listening to it on the podcast, George has got a really nice Santa hat on as well. So, we're all in a very festive mood. How are you, Brian, after yesterday?
Yes. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I couldn't believe it, really. I feared the worst because we always do this season, don't we? Fear the worst, but it was just a breath of fresh air. First half, didn't miss a chance. Second half, probably missed 3, didn't we? Could have been double. But you can't complain, can you, with that? You can't complain. The main thing was a clean sheet, wasn't it? Yeah, I thought we defended very well. Vardy had a few chances, but nothing. Yeah, well, the one in the first half when Jose went out the box. Yeah, I mean, he should have probably done better. Vardy should have done. But the other ones, he was pushed wide, wasn't he? He wasn't really,
Do you know what? We handled him. Apparently, he was being chased out by a pack of wolves wearing Santa hats at the end. Brian, if you could just lean in a bit so that we can that we can hear you a little bit.
Sorry, I've got me. Can you not hear me? Let me just turn my volume up a bit.
Yeah, that's better. So look, we've already got nearly 400 of you watching in the chat, and as I say, it's a very festive Christmas. So we're gonna go my birthday. Went with was Walsall Fan TV. Actually, my mate Simon went to Hickory's, and then today I've had a lovely Tajini tracky top off Emma, which is very nice. I do like so Sooty. If he's when he watches this back and stuff like that, I'm getting my collection up and going. Been for a nice walk out through the park. Had a bit of a lunch. I just had a bit of a rest. Watched a film. Which was a good film, and then had a nice Chinese, and then we're coming on here. So it's been a great, and of course, Wolves winning away at Leicester for the first time since 2007. George, absolutely fantastic, mate. We got a terrible record there in the Premier League as well.
I think the last time we won was when we was chasing the. Was it this season we was chasing the playoffs? 2007, we beat them 4-1 to get a playoff spot, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I think it was at the last game of the season as well. I think it was, and we secured the playoffs 4-1.
And that was the last time that we won. I don't know whether that was at the new stadium or at Filbert Street. I can't remember.
No, that was at the new stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, you think new stadium, but they've been in it a long time now, haven't they?
Yeah. Just buzzing with the win, mate, to be honest.
Expectations going into that game, George?
I said I'd have been happy with an ugly 0-0, but when I saw the lineup, and I saw that he'd sort of leaned into his Portuguese-speaking players, and it was quite an attacking lineup. And just before kickoff, I fancied us. I looked at the Leicester team, and I saw someone had put a tweet out saying, "Oh, this is the worst Premier League team lineup you'll ever see." And I was just thinking, oh, no, here we go. But in my head, I was like, you know what? They don't look great. And then I looked at our lineup and I thought, we should be beating these. And so just before kickoff, I was confident. Before that, I'd have took the 0-0. But, I mean, I'm actually still in disbelief. I'm just optimistic now, Dave, going forward. I'm honestly looking at United and I'm thinking we can do it, mate. I really am. Under the lights, Boxing Day, get the atmosphere going. And I think we just need to just get all aboard the Vitor train now.
All aboard the Vitor train,
aboard, mate. Just let's forget the pessimism. Let's not doubt him. He's come out and said in the press conference, didn't he? He said we will not be relegated. And for me, that's him saying just jump on board. He's trying to galvanise us. And I think, let's say we do beat United now, let's get carried away. You know what? We've been starved that long of getting carried away. Let's just let ourselves get carried away, because if we beat United, we've then got a ropey Spurs side coming up. And what have we got to win now, Dave? Probably to stay up. Seven more games.
We need 7 more wins
Yeah.
and probably a couple of draws.
I mean, well, if we
Out of
can get the
21
momentum
games.
now, if we can get the momentum now, we could tick off 2 or 3 games, and we've just got to think positive. I mean, I'm starting to sound like Jeff Shear, mate, saying this, but let's jump on board.
You're not talking about atoms or anything like that.
No, I'm not talking about atoms, but I am talking about the positive energy. And if you think about, did you watch our match of the day? Did you see Nelson Semedo's interview?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a smile on his face, and the first thing he said was, which we hadn't heard beforehand, was we needed a change. We needed some positivity. And I think it just goes to show out, under the old regime with O'Neill, it was the negative energy just dragging us down, and then players must have been that frustrated. And I think that's why you started to see it boil over. But I just think we've just got to go with it now, and just hopefully we hit some momentum and just fly. And if we can win, let's say 5 out of the next 10, could be job done, and we can enjoy the rest of the season and look to the future. But honestly, I'm just sold. I'm sold on Vita, mate. I really am. And I hope I'm not proved wrong, but I'm sold on it.
And you know what, guys, by the way, just as I come back, if you do want to jump on today and have a little chat, if you want to send in a video, a little video thing or whatever, or if you want to come on the chat, there is a link that anyone can come on to join. We're having a free for all. If you want to come on, there's the link to come on the show, and you're more than welcome to come on and have a little chat. Now, listen, on the positive energy thing, it's like, I know what you're referring to with the article and the atoms and the positive manifestation. The thing is, you've got to make positive change to make positive things happen. You can think positive all you like, but it doesn't necessarily, you've got to have you've always got to go into a game believing you can win. But like when you're doing the same thing and receiving the same results over and over and over again, it's the definition of insanity. This is why all the fans were like screaming, really, like a change had to be made, a reset, a circuit breaker, because that negativity was just, and that doom and gloom it was like a dementor. It was sucking the life out of Molineux and the club and everything. It had to stop, and you had to break that cycle and have a reset, have a circuit breaker, and then start again. And it was really nice to, he's only had 3 or 4 days, as you say, coming in. But you could see, Brian, and you studied the game. For me, I mean, I was in a very different position to normally. I mean, I wish I was in the Wolves end with all the limbs going over there and everything like that. But because I was obviously in hospitality for that game, I got to see the Wolves fans and had a really nice view in the corner of all the patterns of play. And you could just, and Emma was saying you could just see the structures of what we were doing. They were practicing set pieces before the match, like actually practicing defending set pieces and stuff like that. And it seemed to have simplified everything to me. And they seemed to have more of an understanding about what they were trying to do with and without the ball. Brian, what's your take? What's your take on that?
I think you've summed it up very well there, Dave. Football's a very simple game, complicated by over analysing, it is quite simple, isn't it? But the thing is that he obviously worked in those few days he was there on the defence, didn't he? Obviously, because it was very, very tight. I was a little bit concerned. I thought, he's got Santi, Doc, and Totti as a sort of a back three, and I thought, I was a little bit concerned. But 10 minutes into the game, I thought this is going to work. Let's be honest, they were dreadful. They were dreadful, weren't they? I felt for you, Dave. I was watching your thing when you were in the box. I know what it's like. Well, sitting outside the box. I've been there myself.
I couldn't jump up or down. I had to be very sort of respectful. Exactly, We all did. There was 4 of us all in a row because we had our guests and stuff. We had 4 of us all in a row. But we were in the corporate, and Steve Walsh did point out that we were Wolves fans in the Lions, well, the Foxes' den, so to speak. But he was great, and of course, his hands were like plates. They were massive, and he was big chap, Steve Walsh. He's like a giant, but a real gentle giant. And of course, we've talked about him and Bully and his battles we had with Bully back in the past, smashing each other up and all that. But they're the best of enemies now, apparently.
Good. But I've been there where you are, Dave, where you have to sit on your hands. You know, the amount of times I've watched Wolves play against Southampton in the Southampton end, you know, with my relatives, and I've had to get them to sit on their hands and hold their shoulders, you know, when we scored, you know, when we won 2-1 and Joe Gomez scored the winner. I was holding my son and my nephew down on the shoulders, you know. For God's sake, don't jump up, you know, because we're right in the middle of the Saints fans here. But so you have to control yourself, don't you? You know. But yeah, mind you, I didn't sit on my hands when Raul scored his first goal. You know, we won 1-0 and Raul scored his first goal since his injury. Yeah. We beat him 1-0. Mind you, we were in corporate that day. You know, it was my last week at Saints, and they paid for 5 of us to go in the Matt Letizia suite, and then we sat with Mikey Burrows. Actually, we sat right in front of Mikey Burrows in the press place. You know, but we didn't hold back that day.
Mate, I mean, yeah, it was great. To be honest, I was watching, and I want to say a big thank you to Kevin. Merry Christmas. I'm going to put that towards some equipment for the I think for the new year to invest in the channel, maybe a new mic or something. So thank you. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. We've got a guest that's joining us. We've got Matt, who's jumped on. Well, I can see him in the green room, but his internet's obviously not connected. Whilst we're waiting for Matt, just want to say a big thank you to Creation Wolf. Again, as always, for supporting and powering Extra Time. They're a local company from Wolverhampton. They're working with like 3 or 4 companies now since they've been promoting themselves on here. They deliver the industry's most advanced digital solutions, taking your brand and online presence and digital capability to the next level. You get them on creationwolf.com, and the link's in the description. But it looks like Matt's in backstage, but he doesn't seem to be there. So, George, what's your takeaways? What did you really notice? Because you've done you always write some really great articles for alwayswolves.co.uk, and if you're not, go on alwayswolves.co.uk and check out George's articles, because they are fantastic. They're an entertaining read. They're thought-provoking. They're opinion pieces. That you've got a bit of everything. There's a lot of long, deep dive reads, the sort of thing you'd expect to get on The Athletic, that type of thing. So it's very, very interesting. They get a lot of interest. But what's the sort of thing that you picked up, mate?
Well, I think, like you said right from the start, and we saw that training before the game, working on the set pieces, and then you saw coming out of the tunnel with the team, the backroom staff, which obviously haven't been named yet, but I think I've managed to find out who they are. We got Luis Miguel, he's
his long-term assistant.
Assistant, yeah. And then we've got Andre Monteiro, Antonio Asensao, who I think is the fitness coach. Then we've got 2 more that I think are analysts, that are Adriano Teixeira and Ricardo Silva. But for me, I'll mention those people because the first thing that I noticed is we looked at a professional outfit from the get-go, and we looked like we had a plan, and we looked like we've actually been working on something, and he's only had 4 days to do that. But I don't think you can fake that. I think we'd created a game plan, and it looked like we carried it out. There was one moment from a goal kick, and I saw the formation of the team, and I saw Semedo and Rodrigo Gomez like right up past the halfway line from a goal kick. Now, that is what true free at the back looks like. Your wing backs are right up there. So
They
it's
were
not
really high wing backs, weren't they?
really high, mate. It's not a defensive lineup at all, which is what you're always told, and that's what it's looked like under Gary O'Neill, because it wasn't free at the back under Gary O'Neill. It was 5 at the back. Yeah, the wing backs were just sat back. It was fearful football. We were scared. We were a scared team. They'd been told what to do, and the manager said, He'd obviously said to him, look, I don't care if we get caught out. We won't get caught out because I'm telling you this will work. And they were told to get high, and they got high. There was no doubts in their mind. They were carrying out what the manager had told them. And I think that's evidence of executing a plan. You know, we looked at the midfield as well. We trusted Andre to do what Andre does. That's what he's been doing at Fluminense for God knows how long. He's won the Copa America. Yeah, he's Brazil. He was Brazil's starting midfielder before we ended up. He ended up under Gary O'Neill's stewardship. But he was back to doing what he should be doing. He was allowed the midfield space to pick up the ball from the defence and play from there, pick up the gaps, win the ball back and play. And we put the right players in the right places. Now, if you look at the call to put Doherty as in one of the back three, that's obviously that spot that we're going to update in the January window, isn't it? That's what we're going to look to find the key player there. But if Doc can step up and do that for the next couple of games, and he played well on Sunday, then there's no reason why we can't get results in the coming games. If we've got a system and we can execute it well, then there's no reason why we shouldn't be going into games confident. And it looked like that's exactly what we had. I mean, he's obviously put his arm around the shoulder of Guedes as well and said, I believe in you. And look at what a player we look like we might have on our hands now. And he's always someone who hasn't been able to settle. And if you look at the finer details, you know, I've heard a few people mentioning that it's all down to the fact that he's Portuguese and being able to speak in multiple languages and obviously being able to communicate with the Portuguese players. Now, that sounds like a small thing, but if you think of, let's say you're on the training field, yeah, and you want to get an instruction across. Now, if you're obviously speaking, it's saying the obvious, isn't it? But if you're speaking English, so these players, we don't know how good some of their English is. Whereas if you can just straight away give it them in their native language, they can pick up, learn. And I think that's what we saw. I think there was 8 Portuguese speaking players in the starting lineup, wasn't there? And I think he's identified that as a way of, you know what, I can communicate what I want to say. And it just felt like the message was there. And honestly, I've seen enough to say we've got an identity back. And he promised that in his press conferences, didn't he? And I know it's only been one game, but no one would argue there was a pattern of play and there was a clear identity. And that second half, it was get your knees up, get the cigar out, job done. We just killed the game off. We were incapable of doing something like that before. Even if we'd have gone 3-0 up under Gary O'Neill, it would have gone 3-1, 3-2, we'd have fell apart. They never even looked like getting back into the game. We weren't that bothered about scoring another goal.
We did control the game. Now, I did have Matt that came into the green room, and I didn't want to interrupt George, but Matt came to wait to come on. And obviously, you didn't interrupt George, but he's disappeared again now. So, Matt, if you are watching, I did see you in there, and I will bring you on, or anyone that wants to come on the show to have their say. But obviously, I couldn't interrupt George in full flow. So he went out, he looked like he was in daylight. So it was like in daylight. It was bright. So it's got to be somewhere else in the world. So I'm intrigued. So Matt, get yourself back on again, and we will get you on. George, you're right about the structure, and game management is something that we haven't been able to do. Even when we've got the lead against Gary, we've panicked and we look so in control. Now, of course, we don't want to get carried away, do we, Brian? Because it's a win over Leicester, who had lost to Newcastle for a week. They've conceded 7 goals in thingy games. But the thing that I was really surprised about Leicester, and Brian and George on this, they never really pressed us at all. They just seemed to just let us play. They didn't push seemed to put a lot of pressure on us. We seemed to be in control when they came to him, and when they did press, Sarr played it into Andre, who just flicked it out, and then we just played round them. And I think Emma mentioned we did play from the back, but we didn't pass it about for like ages, and we also played long ball when we needed to. Like the first goal, the ball was through. Guedes gets onto it. I thought Strand Larsen did really well. The second goal was a diagonal ball from Doc. And the defender just didn't see Rodrigo Gomez. He just left it, and he ran into it and trickled over the line. And the joy from that lad was fantastic. And then the third goal, Guedes again does so well, and Kuna. But like the ironic cheers from the in the second half when their keeper caught the ball, I felt for him, to be honest. Someone's referred to him as a hologram. He wasn't really there or something. You know, it's like every time. Brian, what's your take about from the structure? And say, Matt, if you do want to get back on, I do apologise. You did see you. If you want to jump back on, as I say, the link there. Please do that, and we will get you on for your opinion. Anyone else that wants to jump on today, we'll get you on as well.
I think that the biggest positive day was how we finished the game. The last 20 minutes, we really controlled that game. You know, because that's where we fell apart in the past. I mean, we have I think on the commentary on the, obviously you at the game, I wasn't, but on the commentary that I was listening to, they said something about Wolverhampton, I think it's the highest actually record of conceding goals in the last 15 minutes. Never looked like it yesterday, did it? I mean, we really controlled that game, and we actually created a couple of chances as well in the last 15 minutes. But that was I thought that was the real positive. You know, that we finished the game really well. I mean, I haven't seen us finish a game like that since Joe Martino was there. You know, he was a great, control the game. Yeah, that game against Liverpool when we beat 3-0. He brought Martino off the bench. Lopetegui did, and he just controlled the game. You know, and that was very similar to that. And excuse me, but the thing about Andre is he keeps it simple. He's not a flamboyant player, and a lot of people wouldn't notice what he was doing. Andy Thompson made a thing today saying that he was his man of the match, and I've tended to agree with him really, because he broke everything up, and he just plays a simple play. He's not worried about playing a defense splitting pass. He'll just give it to somebody else. He looks for Kuna all the time. Actually, you watch him. He knows that's the ball to play if he can. But his percentages are fantastic, aren't they? Up in the 90s, you know. He's passing, he's tackling, he's ball winning. You know, everything is since he's been in, even when he hasn't been playing very often, very few minutes, it's still very good. Has anyone heard anything about Kuna?
We're still waiting on the FA spokesperson. It did pop up on a phone today, FA spokesperson, but it was something to do with Bristol Rovers. So we're still waiting to see what that happened. I mean, the Kuna situation is really interesting because obviously we saw what happened, but I'm guessing he's put something across in what happened to provoke him, because Kuna being provoked like that, it just so out of character to how he is, because he's such an affable, amiable guy. So something has happened, and something has been said that has caused him to react. He shouldn't have done it. Obviously, that's all a symptom of everything that was going on with the Gary O'Neill thing. You've got to be able to deal with things, or deal with it down the tunnel or whatever. But we're still waiting the outcome. At this point in time, he's still available for United, but there could be an update tomorrow, Christmas Eve. We'll have to wait and see.
What was I going to say? I was just going to say, I'll come back to me.
I've heard that as well, Dan, that it could be a racial thing. But I didn't want to say too much because obviously we don't know, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, we're all being very positive, and so we should do. But you and I, Dave, we were at Fulham. We thought we'd turn the corner there. But I don't want to come over too negative. But
Do you know what? Fulham, we were buzzing about Fulham, but at the time we did. I don't think any of us in the crowd actually realised that Fulham were down to 10 men, because it wasn't a substitution; it was an injury. And Kuna was like, scored 2 amazing goals individual, and that Kurt, the Bournemouth guy, fair play to him. He said 18 months ago about Gary O'Neill, he'll come up with all these excuses, these things, talk to everything, tried everything. He relies on individual moments of brilliance. That's what he said. And it kind of, everything he said kind of came to pass, really. And so
anyway,
we were hoping Fulham would be a turning point. It was a great fill-up. It was great, as obviously, wasn't it? Because it come at the end of that 4-game unbeaten run, and we're thinking maybe, and then it all fell apart again very quickly after. So it was literally papering over the cracks.
The good thing is that our next 2 games, although, you think, Manchester United, Tottenham, they're vulnerable, both of them, aren't they? Man United are sort of a transitional period, so we don't really know.
Man United have been in a transitional period for 6-7 years.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
13th in the table. So,
But on looking at them right now, you fancy our chances. Anybody fancy the chances against Spurs, because I think their coach is. I don't rate him.
You mean Ange Popsicle?
I don't rate him at all. I think how he's still in the job, and they got rid of Nuno. After was it about 9 games? I think they got rid of Nuno, something like that. I mean, they must be regretting that now. They showed a little bit of faith in him. Look what he's doing now.
I think, to be honest, Nuno at Tottenham, he was kind of like the 9th choice or something. He was never really wanted, was he? At Tottenham, he was always going to be. I mean, you can't blame him for taking the job, but it was always going to be. It was always going to be a big uphill task for him, because there's a lot more expectation at Tottenham Hotspur than there was when he took over at Forest or when he took over at Wolves. When he took over at Wolves, he was a nobody. When he took over at Tottenham, he'd done a great job at Wolves. It wasn't. It was going to Tottenham, which their fan base has got so much more expectation. Although they've still not won anything for ages. And the type of football he was playing initially, it just didn't go down very well. Whereas when he got into Forest, he got them out the mire, and he's kind of done a Wolves at Forest, and they're absolutely on fire. So the expectations, I think, are a little bit different, which is a shame. But like you say, I think the Tottenham fans just didn't take to him at all.
I think also Nuno's character, I mean, he bought into Wolves, he bought into the city of Wolverhampton. He was part of the DNA, wasn't he, really, of Wolverhampton? I mean, he gave that 250,000 quid to the homeless people, when COVID was happening and all that, Wolves matched it. He identified with the city, didn't he? And I think London, going to a big club in London, it was never going to happen there for him like that. He was never going to have that rapport with the fans, because it's a strange place to go anyway, isn't it? Tottenham anyway,
Well, I am looking forward to Tottenham. Sean Parker's just put in the chat, which me and George has just had a chuckle at. I'm trying not to get too excited. I'll see how we fare on Thursday before I get full Vitor back tattoo. I'll tell you what. Let's have a listen to what Dave from New York Wolves has to say. He sent in a video reaction. As I say, if you do want to get in the chat today, the link's in the description below. You can come on screen. You can talk to me, George, and Brian if you want. Put your point across. But we've got a video reaction sent in here by Dave from New York Wolves. Let's hear what his thoughts are.
Dave with New York Wolves here. Well, I am one of the hordes of Wolves fans that are very happy tonight. Great 3 points on the road. Great way to start the Pereira era. And chipping away at the goal difference, especially against one of our relegation rivals, really. So all good. I don't want to get too excited. We've known all season that we're dangerous going forward and we can score goals, so not really any surprise there. But we still looked a little shaky at the back, didn't we? I think Leicester had a couple of chances in the first half that could have either equalised or pulled it back to 2-1 or even 3-1, and then that could definitely have changed the game with the whole of the second half to go. So I'm glad they dug in and kept the clean sheet. That's important. The defense is the thing that we need to fix, because if we do that, we know we can win games with our attacking play. So still a lot of work to do. I think Guedes had a really good game, but I think the thing with him is we know he's a good attacker when he's in the mood. The question is he in the mood? Does he want to be at Wolves? And secondly, the problem with him, I think, is that he goes missing defensively. You look at the equaliser, Palace equaliser, he left his man at the far post, and that's what cost us those extra 2 points. So, but happy for him. He had a really good game. I think Cunha, as always, had a great game. Good to see him get the captain armband when Semedo went off. Interesting move. Wonder if he's going to be the permanent captain. And I think he made some smart changes and brought all 5 subs on, give everybody a chance, keep changing it up, take a look at everybody. I think he managed the game really well. Good win. I was disappointed that João Gomez didn't get on the score sheet. That header has to get buried in the net, doesn't it? And then his shortly after he had another chance. But you know what? Doesn't matter. All I cared about today was 3 points. Don't care about the performance. Honestly, it's just about picking points up and getting out of the relegation zone and going from there. So on to Boxing Day and Man United, and we will be there and hope to see another glorious Wolves win over the Red Devils. So I will talk to you later. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year, happy holidays, and happy anything else that you celebrate, including a Wolves win. Cheers.
There's Dave. Interesting point, and I think he makes the point about Guedes there, George. But I think Guedes and Rodrigo Gomez were definitely playing higher up the pitch. And interesting, Rodrigo Gomez, because he had an interview, didn't he? He was talking about that he got interviewed. He was asked about his goals. And the interviewer asked about his position, and what he said was, I prefer it how I played yesterday. I played that. That's how I played when I was in Portugal. Which again,
that was his role at Braga, mate. He was a wing back. Initially, he was a winger, and then he was moved to a wing back, and that's where he excelled, and that's why we signed him. So we signed him after a good season at wing back, which is just bizarre when we were supposed to be transitioning to a back 4. So why sign a player who is a wing back? And then we saw him in that game excel. Like his energy up and down that left hand side to get up and down was just incredible, and it just begs the question: does Ran get back in for him? Because for me,
it's funny enough.
No.
Emma said this earlier. Does Ryan Aït-Nouri get back in? And to be honest, if he's had such a great game, I think no. I think no as well.
Does Aït-Nouri offer you that same energy up and down, and the discipline to play the position? Arguably not. And I said potentially if Cunha does get that ban, I could see potentially Ran filling in that role that Cunha was playing, and just being that creative force driving forward. Give him a few games if Cunha gets the ban and see how he can do there, because I think that is now Rodrigo Gomez's position, and it is to keep unless he drops his form, obviously, but he's got to start there again for me, because he did nothing wrong and his energy was great.
Brian, you're agreeing there with George that he picked that thing at him, but Cunha gets a ban, talking about potentially Ryan Aït-Nouri filling in that sort of role because he can run with the ball. Is that type of player, isn't it? I guess that's what you mean.
He just go drifting into that position anyway, doesn't he? He's sort of like, if you follow, where I sit in the Steve Bull, at the top of Steve Bull in the middle, he's very often sort of like wandering into the almost like a number 10 role, and then you're thinking, God, who's filling in at left back? You're thinking, my God, if they win the ball here, we're going to be, they're going to be exposed here. But that was the good thing about Boubacar Traoré. That's why I used to watch about him. If Ran or Semedo got caught out of position, he reads the game so well, and he would immediately drop into that fullback position. And we haven't really got a player that does that now. Maybe Andre, he probably does read the game well, but Boubacar is very good at that. We've we've missed that having him on for the last 20 minutes, to finish games and that. That's what his role was at Wolves for me. Especially when Coutinho left. He was ideal for that. Yeah, but I think you're right, George. That if Cunha does get the ban, he might put him in that position. Yeah.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see, and obviously we'll keep you abreast when we hear any news on Cunha. Of course, we'll report that. So, guys, do make sure. I think there's something like 33% of you that watch the videos are actually subscribed to the channel. So, hit that subscribe button for Christmas. All the work we're putting on the channel, you can at least hit the subscribe and the bell button. And obviously, if you're enjoying the content tonight, enjoying the chat, make sure you hit that like button. I'm going to hear now from Noah, also in the States, young lad, mad Wolves fan. Let's hear his take on the game.
Noah here from Monterey, California. So it ends Leicester City 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 3 at the King Power. What a difference. What a difference, especially defensively. I don't know the exact number because I haven't really looked at it, but it felt like Leicester had quite a few corners and also set pieces in general, relatively speaking, combined at least. And we didn't concede from any of them. Now, it's a really good first goal from Guedes. Really good ball over the top from Semedo, and again, Guedes he outmuscles Connor Cody there. Second goal, I have absolutely no idea what their right back is doing, and Justin James, I think is his name, for Leicester. Calamitous at the back for them, but nonetheless, really good to see Rodrigo get his first goal in the Premier League, and for Wolves in the Premier League as well. I think he's really going to, benefit from Pereira being here, Rodrigo. And then, the third goal, Guedes again, fantastic. Just lays it back to Cunha. Goalkeeper does get a hand to it, but off the post and in. And this was just a massive result. I think in particular, at least though, as well, the second half, we knew Leicester were probably going to come at us potentially and come with a little bit more fire in their bellies per se. But we were so calm, we were so collected. We looked like we knew what we were doing. Maybe a few half-hearted clearances here and there, but other than that, we just looked so much more sure of ourselves at the back. So again, a massive result. The first win for Vitor Pereira, not just, of course, as Wolves manager, but first win in the Premier League ever for him. And yeah, I think today showcased why we are the better side than Leicester, and I think also why Leicester are most likely going down, and also showcased why showcased why we are too good to go down, I think, in my opinion. Because let's be honest, we also didn't really get out of first gear, or second gear, it felt like today. But yeah, nonetheless, big win. We'll see what happens against United too. Maybe we'll be up for that. And United are kind of in a rough spot at the moment. So anyways, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Merry Christmas, everyone, as well. Enjoy the 3 points, and always Wolves.
Always speaks really well. Again, it's good to hear the sort of similar sort of tones coming out from everyone. Now, I do want to say, obviously, we're absolutely ecstatic that we won that game, but it is one game. It's the first step. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens against United and Tottenham. And we're going to come on to that in a minute. But George, I want to go to you now and ask for your Lee-Moore Windows Man of the Match, your Fox at Shipley performance rating, and what made you smile, the Parkside Dental moment that made you smile, or highlight of your day for the match.
Man of the match, I'm gonna go for Andre, mate, because I think he just picked apart that midfield and dominated that area. And we were playing with one, possibly two less midfielders in the centre of the park, because Bellegarde used to drop in and we used to sort of clog up that centre of the park trying to get control of games. We stripped that back and we allowed João Gomes to push up and support Cunha and just get busy in the middle of the park. And we allowed Andre to just dominate that CDM area, number 6 area. And I thought he just did it with absolute ease. So I'm going to give it to Andre. What was the other question? Performance rating.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple of chances we gave Vardy when he got through, I would have given it a 10 if it wasn't for that. So I'll give it a 9.
You really are happy. You really are happy, George.
I just think it was just great to see us play a proper game of football. Honestly, it just was amazing. I was just sitting there, just nodding my head. I can see what we're trying to do. And even if we lose games, as long as we can see what we're trying to do, you'll see how we're losing games. You'll see an individual error. And you couldn't see that before because it was just all a mess. I just think you'll see it. And I think we'll do the same against United. And if we lose that game, we'll be able to see why. It'll be at one particular moment. And that's, for me, that's all I've asked for a long time. So I'm giving it a 9.5 because we've just gone into a high-stakes fixture, made it look pretty easy that second half. So I think it was a great performance. 9.5. Moment that made me smile was, I don't know if you saw the tweet I put out in the pre-match when they were running out and the coaching staff, and there was that one guy, and he just
got a load of
he looked ready for war, and I just thought, man, it's all
Is he
changed.
the enforcer?
Yeah, it's all changed backstage, mate. There's some discipline in the camp now, and it just put a smile on my face, and I just thought, it looks like we might be heading in the right direction. But yeah, time will tell. But I saw an identity, and for me, that was the most important thing. I don't think we fluked to victory there at all. So what more can you ask from a first game? So yeah, buzzing, mate.
Fantastic. Sean, who's on Twitter X, says he was chatting to a local restaurant owner in the Algarve today, who's originally from Porto. He mentioned that Pereira is still remembered as one of the best ever Porto managers and expected to do well at Wolves.
That's one game. That's one game in 2 seasons, Dave.
At Porto, yeah, that's correct.
One game in 2 seasons.
He did very well there. So whilst actually not just yet, but think of your questions for the panel, because we're going to come to Q&A in a minute. But Brian, same for you.
Just before I go on to that, Dave, George, were you at the game? You actually were at the game?
No, I wasn't at the game, mate. Sunday now.
Just want to point out, Dave, you might not know this, but you know the chance that Vardy had, Totti sort of missed the cross, and then he took 2 touches, and when he should have took 1 touch, and then Totti cleared it off the line.
Yeah.
The ball was played through to the guy who crossed it to. He was offside.
Yeah, it would have been offside anyway. That one.
It was about a yard offside, so it's irrelevant. That.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah.
You wouldn't have seen that, Dave, because it wasn't on the extended highlights on the Wolves channel, and I haven't seen it anywhere else. But they did show it at the time. He was well off. He was at least a yard off.
Oh right, okay, good to know.
Yeah. Anyway, my man of the match, I think I already mentioned, not just again with George, but Andre was, he's a player, he's a player's player. Andre is, he's a player's player. Does this, he doesn't do the spectacular. He does the dirty work. That's what we need. My performance rating, I'll give it a 9. I would have given it 8, but the way we finished the game, that was why.
You can go 8.5 if you want. You can go in the middle.
No, I'm going to go to 9 because the way we finished the game, the way we controlled the game at the end, didn't look like we were going to let a goal in, and we even created a couple of chances in that time as well. So I've upgraded from an 8 to a 9. Like I said, I don't want to get too carried away. I've got too carried away in the past, and it's come back to bite me. So. I'll give it a 9, but there's room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. So yeah, and my moment of the match, I suppose, was the celebrations when the players. I don't think Pereira wanted to go across.
They pushed him, didn't they?
They pushed him, and that
just shows. If you haven't seen that, if you go on to onto my YouTube and look at the final whistle bit, you can see the reaction with the fans and the players, and you can see on zoom in, and you can see the players that are pushing Pereira to go and acknowledge the fans, and he does all this and stuff like that, which is kind of nice to see because it means that they're embracing him.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah, very good.
Absolutely. So, guys, we've got some questions that have started to come in. First question. So, if you've got any questions, bang them in now because this is your Q&A. George first, then Brian. Where will Wolves be next Christmas, George?
I think if we back the manager and we get the momentum, there's no reason why we couldn't be, doing what, for example, Bournemouth are doing at the minute. We've got probably more resources than Bournemouth have got, but they've backed a manager and they've built around his philosophy. Now, if we can actually do the same this time and not treat him like a firefighter manager who gets us, he's a great manager. He's got a history of doing well in the game. He's got experience, exactly the same as Lopetegui. But as soon as we were out the mire last time, we pulled the plug. Now, if we manage this situation a little bit better, make sure we invest wisely in January and then again in the summer and build what he wants to build. There's no reason why we can't be toe-to-toe with how Bournemouth are doing at the minute. There's absolutely no reason at all. So will that happen now is the question. If that does happen, I think we could have a really good season. And this time next year, we could be sitting in and around, 8th, 9th, 7th, even 6th. But it all depends because I think this is the final straw and we've just got to go all in on it and trust his vision and build on it. If we don't and we pull the plug again, we could be in the exact same position again. I'd be amazed if they make the same mistake twice as they did with Lopetegui. I would be absolutely astounded. So I'm going to say we'll be in a much better place than we are now. Yeah.
Okay, Brian, to you.
Well, I hope we are. I hope we are. I mean, we've got 2 transfer windows before next Christmas. So this next one, it's imperative. We've got to get a decent centre back, even if it's just for squad depth, but a decent one. We're not going to get a big name, are we? I mean, obviously the scouting staff might know. I mean, there's talk about Kevin Danso. Well, he's doing very well in France, but I saw Kevin when I was at Saints. He was only on loan there. He was quite young then as well. He's about 26 now, but he was about 20, 21, something like that when I was there. Didn't have much of a run, but I mean they had their first choice centre backs at the time, and they were doing half decent at the time. So he was never going to sort of get in there. So he played for the 21s a few times. He looked solid, big lad. He was a big lad. So I mean I see there's a lot of clubs after him though. So but what I'd like to do is if you're going to get someone like him, bring him on loan. Just bring him on loan to see what do the old try before you buy thing. I mean, I know ideally you could do 2 centre backs, but I just don't know whether we're going to get 2 in
we'll see. So next year, where are we going to be?
There. If we get, if we, as George said, if they're backed up, if Pereira's backed up, then I mean, we could be in that top 8. I think in the top 8, where that. Just below the top 4, whoever the top 4 is.
I'm liking that positivity. Here's a question. Again, I was going to ask this anyway, but David Wright wants to know how many points do us as a panel think we're going to get a home to United and away to Spurs? We'll go with you first this time, Brian.
Oh, right, okay. Before the 3 games were coming up, it straddled Christmas, before yesterday's game, and before New Year, 3 games coming up. I'd have said I'd been happy with 3 points, but that meant 3 draws. But we got 3 points now, so everything else is a bonus. But I think we can. I think we can get another 4 points. I think we can get another 4 points, if not 6. We've got a really good record, Spurs, over the last few years. We have a good record. I know United did the double over us last year, but both games they got. The first game obviously we should have won that game. There's no 2 ways about it. But the 4-3 around about January last year, wasn't it? Or this year. But we could have easily have got a point there. But they're just in some strange place, aren't they? United at the moment. They're there for the taking, and I think. under the lights, we always seem to pull it off when we got those evenings, and it's gonna. I know it's not going to be late evening, but it's going to be under the lights tomorrow and
So
Thursday.
you're going with 4 points then?
I'd say 4, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got 6.
Bloody hell, the positivity that's coming through. George.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and I came to the conclusion that at the start of the season we were saying, "Oh, these are winnable fixtures, and these are the tough fixtures. We'll get these out." That doesn't exist. None of that exists. We would have said at the start of the season, Bournemouth, Forest, winnable games. Bournemouth and Forest are well above Spurs and United. It doesn't exist. And what it comes down to is playing. If you're lucky enough to play teams at the right time, it doesn't matter who they are. At the minute, going into that Spurs game, that could be the game that Ange gets the sack. If we go there and beat him, that he could get the sack that game. Okay, and then if you look at Amorim at United, it's a shaky start, isn't it? And it seems that they're wavering at the minute. Some people have started calling him Ruben interim, ain't they? So it's all getting a bit. It's a good time to play him, is what I'm saying.
Ruben what? Interim?
Ruben interim. So the pressure's starting to get on him a little bit, and that was always going to be a journey for Amorim at United. It was never going to be instant success. But I think we're playing them both at a good time, and I think they're playing us. If we run with this and get the wind in our sails, they're playing us at a bad time. We've got a new manager Bounce. We've just gone and beat Leicester 3-0 comfortably. If we really get the wind in our sails and build that momentum, maybe I'm being over optimistic, Dave. I'm going to say
we haven't had a lot of joy, but we haven't had a lot of optimism
points.
for a long time. But
6 points.
6 points. 6 points. Now I said when I wanted my Christmas wish, because I said, what do I want for my Christmas and birthday? I said, I think I said on the thing, I said 9 points I want, but I'll be happy with 7. So we got 3. So like a win and a draw from these 2 next games would be nice. If we can get 3 wins on the bounce, that would really make a difference. And I agree with both of you. I think that I think because of the reset now, because of the positivity, the total atmosphere going into that game, if it had been under Gary O'Neill at Boxing Day to going in now after beating Leicester, new manager, that complete doom and gloom, that negativity, that like, oh my God, don't even really want to bother going. There's now an excitement because it's like, okay, we've got new hope. So I think the combination of it being under the lights, the combination of it being on Boxing Day, Vitor Pereira's first home game, I think the atmosphere is going to be fantastic at that game. As much as I thought it might go nasty at the last game, which it kind of did, I think it could be a real... The fans are going to be well up for it. They're going to make sure he's welcome, and they're embracing the manager. I think it'll be a good atmosphere. And if they keep their composure and, he's had a few more days on the training ground, I can see us beating United. I think they're there for the taking. I'm just wondering whether he'll start Rashford, because I could see Rashford.
Just on that. No, I don't think he'll start him now. But if we go 1-up against United, the atmosphere will be incredible. Yeah. And I don't think we'll look back from that. So if it's so important, that first goal, if we get that first goal, I think we'll be absolutely fine. So I think just come out the traps, get behind the manager, get behind the team, and if we get that first goal, we're laughing, mate.
And as regards to Tottenham, I mean, yeah, they'll go gung ho, but you can pick them off, especially with their defence they've got, with the injuries they've got at the moment. They're there for we've got players, intelligent players that can make them runs. We can pick them off. So I don't see why not. I mean, so I'll take 4. I'll take 7 out of 9. But like, we can get 9, that would be amazing. But like, look, that game against Leicester was humongous. Had we have lost that game, we're like 7 or 8 points from safety. It's a big way to come back. The fact that we won that game and we won it 3-0, it's not just about the points that we're now 2 points instead of 8 points. It was a 6-goal swing in terms of goal difference as well. which is an extra point. We went from -16 to -13, and they went from -13 to -16. So that's a goal difference swing as well. So if we can keep scoring goals and we kept a clean sheet, we defended set pieces okay. There's a couple of very scary moments, but you're going to get that against any team. You've got to, in them moments, you've got to defend. And although that goal would have been offside and Totti completely air guitar kicked it, he recovered and still got up to defend it on the line, even though it probably would have got disallowed anyway. So, look, you've got to be positive. Next question. I think he references, do you keep Rodrigo at left back or play Ryan on wing, vice versa? Well, he played more as a wing back, Rick, high wing back.
Rodrigo keeps his place for me. So it's a simple answer for me, that one.
Brian?
It's a difficult one, isn't it, really? It is really difficult. I mean, will it change the winning side? You know, to be harsh on whoever gets dropped, doesn't it? You know, but having said that, it is a few, you know, not a week between games, only a few days between games, and so he may rotate it a little bit. But I mean, I think it will be it'd be very harsh to drop anybody, wouldn't it? Really, but he may do. And we don't know the situation with Kuna at the moment. I think, as we said earlier, I think if Kuna gets banned, well, it'll have to be tomorrow, won't it? It won't be banned on Christmas Day, surely.
Can you imagine? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the news will have to be made to us tomorrow. But I think if he does, I think we'll put Ran in that position, really. You know, because what's the situation with Lemina as well? Is he?
I don't know. I think he's got a calf injury or something. I'm not exactly sure. Do you know, Emma?
What's it?
Lemina?
Don't know.
No, I think he might have.
It was a calf strain reported. Liam Keane said calf strain.
That's what I heard as well. So yeah, I mean, Trevor says we've got to be very vocal on Thursday. I think. I think. Yeah, I mean, about Victor. I mean, looking at all some of these questions, we've covered off a few of them. Like the crowd has a big part to play. Of course, it does. Someone's asked about, do you think we'll have a good FA Cup run? I don't think that's the priority, but winning breeds winning. I think you can go to Bristol City and we can win. And if I think you just want to get used to winning. So hopefully it'd be nice to have a cup run again. I think the first priority is staying up, and if we're still in the cup, then yeah, let's have a go. Here's a question for you from Andrew. Do the lads, Boston and George, think Doyle should get a start against United?
Who's he going to drop? Sorry, who's he going to drop? He can't drop Gomez or Andre, can he? It's very unfortunate for Tommy because he's a really good player, but still young, isn't he? He's only 122, so I think it'd be harsh on anybody to get dropped in that position.
George?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I love Tommy Doyle. I absolutely love him, but I think it's you can't tamper with that midfield duo the way they performed against Leicester. They worked well together, and we was just dominant in midfield. So you just can't. So no, I don't think he does get a start, but I think he'll come on again second half. And he's got a big part to play, I think, in this team going forward. Because I think I think from what you see, he's infectious kind of character. He picks people up. He's in and about. And I think in pre-season, it was mentioned that he was meant to be vice captain. But obviously, I don't know how much truth there was in that. But he's clearly, he's young, but he's got leadership qualities, hasn't he? And I think his time will come. But no, I don't think he starts against United.
Absolutely, and I think that pretty much concludes the show. Thanks for everyone to join us in the chat. We do want to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. If there's any news coming up, we will obviously bring you the news as always. And thank you for all the lovely birthday wishes. Much appreciated. Thank you if you've subscribed to the channel. Much appreciated and like the video. Carl says we're just over 105 at the moment, which is great. We will put this out on the podcast in the morning. I know loads of you will watch it back on catch up. Final words from Boston and George. Give us one sentence, Boston, just to finish off the show, even if it's Merry Christmas, everyone.
Well, I will say Merry Christmas to everybody, but also everybody get behind the team on Thursday. Get behind the team.
Absolutely. There's loads of people sending Christmas wishes. George?
Yeah, I've got to say Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a good couple of days. And I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. It's in my little tagline, Dave. In Vitor Pereira, we trust.
There it is. In Vitor, we trust. Absolutely. So, yeah, look, it's the start of a new journey. And in the words of Star Wars, a new hope, literally. Let's hope we can back this up against United. That would be fantastic. I believe that we can. But we can't get too carried away. It is one win, but it's a start. And as everyone's saying, absolutely Merry Christmas. Thank you ever so much for joining. Content coming up all over the next few days because it doesn't stop, does it, football? So we'll be covering everything for you as usual. You might even have a match preview that comes out sometime on Christmas Day. You never know. But from all of us at Always Wolves to all of you, lots of love to you, your friends and your family, wherever you're watching in the world. And keep the faith. In Vitor, we trust. Until the next one, Always Wolves.
Wolves.